What if I told you that your parents tricked you? Would you believe me? What if I told you that your teachers tricked you? Would you believe me? What if I told you that your bosses have tricked you? Would you believe me? I'm here to tell you that your parents, your teachers, and your bosses, they all lied to you. And if you stay tuned, I'm going to break it down. What's going on, YouTube family, and welcome back to the channel. If you never tuned into the channel, I'm Tyrone Isaac. I appreciate you clicking the button to watch the video on today. If you've never watched any of my videos, what I tend to talk about is I talk about your personal finances, I talk about budgeting, I talk about your 9 to 5 and your career and how that helps and can benefit your financial situation. But I also talk about going from an entrepreneur to an entrepreneur, basically going from somebody who works for an organization to going to starting your own organization, starting your own company, your own business, your own LLC, whatever you want to call it. All right. So if you are new, I would definitely appreciate it if you could subscribe. If you do like what I have to talk about today, definitely like it and make sure you leave a comment. With that being said, want to talk about this myth today, or I'm not even going to say a myth, but I'm going to talk about an actual thing. And that actual thing is how we've been lied to all of our life on basically what we want to get out of life. And specifically, we've been lied to in the sense of getting job promotions. All right. I'm sure since you've grown up, your parents, your teachers, different ones that different companies you've worked for, you always hear, oh, you got to work hard. You got to work hard, and that'll get you the promotion. That'll get you more money. I'm actually here to tell you that it's not about how hard you work. Being a young person with an organization, or at one time being a young individual with an organization, that's what I thought. I truly thought that the harder I work, the more money I would make. I thought that the harder I worked, the more people would see me, the more eyes would be on me, and I'd get promoted. I'd get to where I wanted to get. And I'm not going to say that everybody's lied to us fully, but they have lied to us. That statement of you got to work hard to get where you want, it only works for a short amount of time. All right. When you're new to an organization, when you're a team member, an hourly worker, yeah, you got to work hard. And by you working hard, you will hopefully catch the eyes of the different individuals that will promote you, right? Whether it be a supervisor, a manager, whatever. As long as you work hard, they will take notice of it and they will promote you. Sometimes. A lot of times they're looking for the individuals who are being creative. They're looking for the individuals who are taking on extra tasks. All right. And if you're not somebody who you're being creative, or you're not taking on extra tasks, your hard work is only going to get you but so far. However, let's say your hard work gets you promoted to a supervisor. And I'll talk about at my organization. So at the organization I work for, there's multiple levels of leaderships. There's multiple layers, right? So you're a team member when you first start, and then you can become a training coach, and then you can become a supervisor, then you become a department manager, then you have operations managers, then you have assistant directors, and then there's director of operations. There's me. And with that, when you're trying to get to a certain level, it becomes less about how hard you work. It actually becomes more about who you are. And I'm going to say this, and hopefully it doesn't offend anybody, but it's the honest truth. It becomes about kind of who you know. And when I say who you know, I'm not saying it becomes about solely on who you know, or, oh, that's my father and that's why I got promoted, or that's my buddy and that's why I got promoted. No, What I mean by who you know is, have you put yourself in a position to where these individuals know you now? Have you placed yourself in front of these individuals to where they know who you are and they know what you can do for them? If you haven't done that, then that's where you're struggling at. If you think that you go out into this operation and you run your area or your department and you just run great numbers or have a great financial or a great P&L for the organization, that's everybody. Every building, every facility has great individuals that can run their departments. Everyone has individuals who can build relationships. Everyone has individuals who can lead teams. Every organization has that multiple individuals who can do Excel spreadsheets, right? That's not uncommon anymore, right? Every organization has multiple people that can do these little tasks. So how do you take yourself from being an individual who can do these little tasks to an individual who you're now in the spotlight being seen as someone who is going to be promoted? What you have to do is you have to raise your hand, right? You have to ensure that the people that make those decisions, what I call them are the decision makers, they know who you are. If the decision makers don't know who you are, then you're going to waste a lot of time. I say that because that was actually me. For the longest time with the organization that I'm with, the decision makers didn't know who I was. Right? I think I've mentioned this multiple times on multiple videos that I've been with the organization that I've worked for 17 years. And things didn't really pick up until the last almost decade. So it was 2016. So in 2016, that's when things started to pick up for me. Prior to 2016, right, that's what, 8 years, I believe. That 8 years, I was just a low-level, mid-level leader after being a team member for years. And that's because nobody knew me. Nobody knew who I was. The main decision makers, they knew me, but they didn't know what I could actually offer or bring to the table, right? At the organization I worked for, we had a regional vice president, and the ones that were moving up, the regional vice president was actually having conversations with daily. Me personally, I just focused on doing my job. I focused on being a hard worker bee, right? Everybody's going to be that worker bee. That's everybody. But the individual who's coming and stepping up and raising their hand and saying, hey, I got an idea. I got a suggestion. Hey, can we try this? That's the individual who's going to be remembered. That's the individual who's going to be known. That's the individual who's going to get promoted. And honestly, you might actually work harder than that person. You might be a stronger leader than that person. But because that person has the courage to raise their hand, or they may have the gift of gab, then that person gets the promotion over you. There was multiple times that individuals got promoted over me, and I'm just scratching my head like, what? Like, I don't get it. How's this person getting promoted over me? I get it. They talk to this person and they're buddies with this person, but I'm a harder worker. And I know y'all see it. So for the longest time, because that's what I'm seeing and my thought process is all jacked up, I'm getting upset. I'm starting to resent these people. Because it's like, oh, so this is what we're doing. That person's getting promoted because of who he knows. That person's getting promoted because he's buddies with our regional vice president. They eat lunch every day together. They hang out. That's why they got promoted. But the reality was, it wasn't because he was buddies with our regional vice president. It's because he raised his hand and then put himself in that position to have that FaceTime with that person. He raised his hand, he worked on projects to where he had to be in front of this person. So he had to be in front of the decision maker. So when it came time to promote somebody, it's kind of easy. I got this hard worker, but there's thousands, millions of hard workers. But everybody's not a decision maker. Everybody's not a playmaker. So if you're trying to get a promotion, you got to become a playmaker. You got to become a decision maker. You got to stop worrying about everybody else and stop worrying about working hard. You actually have to start raising your hand and putting yourself in front of the right people. The right people will promote you if you start asking the right questions and start trying to fix the right problems. You got to stop trying to work hard, because working hard, that's gone. That's dead. Working hard is not going to get you where you want to be. For a short amount of time, you got to work hard, but it's not going to get you where you want to be. Think about it. Most CEOs, the richest people in an organization, are the CEOs, the owners. How many times have you seen a CEO actually doing physical labor? How many times have you seen a CEO actually busting their behind? And I'm not saying that CEOs don't bust their behind, because you got CEOs that bust their behinds. But it's a rare case. It's a rare thing. Most CEOs, they sit in their skyscraper offices up on the top floor, and they have other people that make those calls. They just make the big decisions. But they got other people who make the low-level decisions. They employ thousands of employees, hundreds to thousands of employees to fulfill orders. And some people are okay with that. Some people are okay with just being a worker bee. But if you're watching this video right now, then you're likely not okay with being just a worker bee. You likely want to be more. You likely want to do more. You likely want to get promoted. And if you want to get promoted, then you got to get yourself in front of the decision makers. You got to get off of this thought process, or you got to get away from this thought process that it's all about hard work. It truly isn't about your hard work. It's more about what type of problem are you solving? What type of problem or what type of thing are you creating? Are you somebody who the company can count on? And when I say count on, meaning they know that you're going to take them from here to here. If you're somebody who's going to be able to bring multiple millions or billions of dollars into an organization, why wouldn't they put you in that type of position? It's crazy. When I started with the organization, I started off as a shipping loader, right? I was a shipping loader at the company I worked for. I was a temp shipping loader. I was a temp associate. I worked for a company called Manpower as a temp associate, and they assigned me to a project for a Fortune 500 company, Fortune 100 company. And when I started there, I was making like $9 an hour, $9.50 an hour. And the crazy thing is, as a shipping loader, you're working hard. You're physically loading these trailers. On average, I would load anywhere from 3,500 to 4,500 cases onto a trailer a day. Literally, I would hand load 3,500 to 4,500 cases onto a trailer a day. And that was me doing my part. And it's crazy because I never sat and thought about it, but the average case that you're loading is on average around $20. Let's say $20 to $25. Let's call it $25. So if I load, I'm going to pull up my calculator. If I load a total of, let's say 4,000, because I said 3,500 to 4,500, let's say 4,000 times $25. So on average, every day, I'm loading 35 to 4,500 cases. So we just put it at 4,000 cases on average. The average case costs $25. That means a day I'm helping the company ship out $100,000 worth of inventory. That's just one person. So every day I'm physically doing this hard labor and helping the company ship out $100,000 worth of inventory. And I'm making $9.50 an hour. Fast forward to present day, I make multiple six figures. Not going to share exactly what I make right now. I will eventually share it in a video, but I make well over 200K a year. But the crazy thing is, now I manage a $50 million budget a year for the organization. It still doesn't add up, right? So doing all this hard work, and the hard work is going to get you but so far. But placing yourself in front of the decision makers is what's going to get you promoted. Going from $9 an hour to over six figures, becoming a decision maker myself now, I had to place myself in front of other decision makers. So my advice for you is, you got to debunk this thought process that you got to work hard to get where you want to go. It's not about working hard anymore. What it's actually about is making sure that the decision makers know you. And I'm not saying go be a butt kisser, right? Don't go be that person. What I'm saying is, the best way, because the butt kissers end up not getting promoted, right? I remember there was me and this other individual, and yeah, I ended up getting a job over them. And they were that way to get known, and I was somebody who came up with ideas. I was somebody who came up with suggestions, came up with plans. And by me coming up with plans and ideas and taking action, that's what got me the promotion. We both placed ourselves in front of the decision maker, but the decision maker chose the person who was coming up with the newer ideas. They didn't choose the person that was coming up to kiss their behind. Right? And then there was another individual who was a hard worker too. So you had the hard worker, the butt kisser, and the person that's coming up with the ideas. The person that came up with the ideas was the one that got promoted. So that's what I want to tell you. You gotta lose the thought process that it's all about hard work. If you want to get promoted, it's easy to get promoted. I promise you, getting promoted is super easy. Like, I've been promoted multiple times. Once I learned this, I don't think I've been in a position more than 2 years. Once I finally understood this. Once I understood it, the longest I stayed in a position was 2 years. Don't believe me? Check my LinkedIn. Oh gosh, that's going to tell you what company I work for. But in all honesty, literally, as long as you understand that you have to place yourself in front of the individuals that are making the decisions by solving problems, by taking initiative, by taking action, you'll get your promotion. You'll be where you want to be. And once you get the promotions, the work doesn't get easier. It gets physically easier, but you do get mentally tired. But it's well worth it. So, with that being said, let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know how you feel about this. Let me know if you agree. Do you think that the hard worker is the one that wins? Well, I think we all know that the hard worker doesn't win because we've all been hard workers. But let me know what you think about it. Let me know what your thoughts is. Until the next time, see you around.